have also to consider lack of support for SMEs in certain difficult remote locations.
So Michael, we both know there are challenges ahead for small and medium enterprises. So what are some of the biggest challenges for SMEs in emerging markets at present?
So first of all, everybody knows that SMEs are the backbone of every economy. They are engines of employment, income generation and growth. Studies indicate that SMEs account for around 80% of job creation and over 55% of employment in developing countries. Emerging economies are no exception here. So, however, as you just mentioned, a number of complex constraints are keeping SMEs in emerging countries from realizing their full potential. These are skills shortages, inadequate infrastructure, but also a lack of financial resources. Insufficient access to finance is often seen as the key obstacle to growth. The SME finance gap is the result of a mismatch between the needs of the SMEs and the restriction and requirements of the investors or lenders. SMEs need capital and long-term finance for growing their business, including support to develop managerial skills, financial skills, technical skills, IT system, and business linkages. That's the most challenges the SMEs face in emerging countries.
And you've mentioned that one of the main obstacles there was financing SMEs. So for investors that are looking to finance an SME and invest in that area, what are some of the main factors that they should consider when looking to support an SME?
So investors are willing to invest in emerging countries. However, they are kept out of certain difficult countries, sectors or client segments, because their perceived risk of investing in these segments is too high. So investors should consider certain risks like country risk, default risk, SMEs rural areas, currency risk. Therefore, investors should consider innovative ways to reduce costs or make assessment process more efficient. One reason why investors shy away from financing SMEs are the high transaction costs involved compared to the invested amounts. They have also to consider lack of support for SMEs in certain difficult remote locations. One of the solutions would be creating or stimulating innovative partnership and offer risk mitigation mechanism are always the key, like first loss capital or a guarantee.
Fantastic. And you mentioned locations there. So how important is locations for looking at where to invest, in what areas SMEs should be invested in? So for example, the Reserve Bank of India did recently launch a loan repayment scheme for SMEs, which worked in SMEs' favour. So I'm sure it must be that you can consider locations to be a really high considering factor when looking at which area to invest in.
Yes. Thank you for the question. To answer this question, one option is to follow the growth in financial penetration and to split the countries in three groups. The growth in financial penetration is defined as the percentage of the population with access to financial services. In some countries, this percentage has been 2% per annum. For the last 5 years. That's the first group. These are countries like Colombia, India, Brazil, Indonesia, Malaysia, or South Africa. They have a large numbers of unserved SMEs. These countries fall into this group by virtue of the growth of their unbanked population. So investors or lenders should take full advantage of these countries and be willing to invest on a significant scale. Other countries show moderate growth in financial penetration, so 1 to 2% per annum, but still represent an exciting opportunity. The larger markets in these groups include Thailand, Nigeria, Philippines, Vietnam, Ecuador, Chile, and Peru. When the growth in financial penetration is less than 1% per annum, that means that those markets, so the third group, are close to saturation point, while others have yet to establish the conditions they will allow SME lenders to fully capture the SME opportunity. These are countries like Ethiopia, Pakistan, or Uganda, or Ghana.
Fantastic. Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining us on the line to provide your insights.
Thank you to you, Jessica.
Thank you. Well, that's all from us here in the Geneva studios, but if you did like this interview, then please do like and comment on Dukascopy.tv.